Well, you always knew Afghanistan's trump cards would be their spinners, and it was that spinner, Mujibur Rahman, finally amongst the wickets in this World Cup. First getting rid of Litton, and then the big wicket of Shakib al-Hasan. But then came the fight back courtesy Mushfiqur Rahim. Fresh from his 100 versus Australia, followed it up with an 83 versus Afghanistan, and as things stand after the end of 50 overs, Bangladesh have put up 262 for the loss of 7 wickets. Mushfiqur Rahim with 83 to his name. Shakib al-Hasan, yet another half century, 51 on the board. Tamim Iqbal with 36, but Mujib-ur-Rahman, this many big names is really tough. Sometimes you can get confused. Mujib-ur-Rahman getting 3 wickets for 39, and Gulabdin Naim getting 2 to his name, and Mohammad Nabi as well getting a very important wicket of Tamim Iqbal. Thank you so much for joining us on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, as we're joined by Murali Kartik, Mike Hussey and Shahriar Nafees from Bangladesh. Guys, 262 on a pitch that had restricted India to 224 a few days back, Mike. Bangladesh will be happy with this score?
I think it's a good score. I think the Bangladesh batsmen batted well. Looking down at some of the scores there, Tamim 36, Shakib 50, Mushfiqur 83, but their strike rates were quite low. They weren't at a runner ball, so that tells me they had to work very hard for their runs. So that tells me this pitch isn't the easiest for scoring and quick scoring out there. So I think it's a good score, but Afghanistan can take some hope out of it as well, because they almost chased down 224 against India, and I'd say India's bowling attack is a lot stronger than the Bangladesh attack, so they'll take that positive into the chase.
Also, Kartik, somehow or the other, you suppose earlier in the early games their strike rates were pretty high because the conditions on offer were such so you could really attack the bowlers. They sort of assessed it well as well, because this is not the kind of pitch you can go slam bang against the bowlers.
Yeah, and also the way the bowlers bowled. Sometimes it's the conditions and the way the bowlers bowled. The 3 spinners I thought bowled really well. In the end, Rashid went for a few because he bowled in the back end of the Bangladeshi innings. Mujibur Rahman was spot on, so it took them a while. There was more spin. I thought there was more spin on today's track than there was against India. The ball gripped a lot more, so it was not easy batting conditions. So they should be very happy with 262. Hopefully, Shahriar Nafees is happy too.
Shahriar Nafees, are you happy, sir?
Yes, I think it's a decent score. You know, one thing you have to consider that this ground is probably the biggest ground in this World Cup. Huge ground, big boundaries, so that's why you can cut down the boundaries, and the bowling attack suited this condition. The pitch, there was turn, there was bit bounce, and Afghanistan bowlers didn't offer too much pace for the batsmen to work on with the pace. So I believe Bangladesh will be happy with this total, because if you compare this total to other grounds, looking at the size of the ground, probably it's something around 280 to 85 score. So it's a decent score. Now Bangladesh has to bowl their skin off to get them home, because all this World Cup, Bangladeshi bowlers didn't complement the batting. Yet again today, the batsmen did their job. Now it's time for the bowlers, and I hope it's not late.
262 on the board. Let's just see how the Bangladeshi batsmen fared versus pace and fared versus spin. What is pretty evident is, since it is Afghanistan's strength and they bowled really well as well in those 50 overs, they lost 4 wickets to spin, Shahriar, as opposed to 3 wickets to pace. Not surprising really, given the strength that Afghanistan bring into this game.
No, like, first of all, you have to admit, and everyone admits, that Afghanistan has a very strong bowling attack. Those spinners, like, they have been performing really well and dominating the world T20 leagues or the world circuit. So it was a very difficult job for all the teams to bat against these bowlers. Looking at the World Cup, you know, Afghanistan, where they lost the plot, it was their batting. They couldn't complement their bowling attack that much. That's why they have lost so many games. So Afghanistan bowling attack is really hard to score against, like, especially starting with Mujibur Rahman. He starts ball, like, as a batsman you want to get in, play some shots, but the amount of variety he has got, you have to look, and then comes Nabi and Rashid. So these 30 overs you have to struggle a bit, and if you look at Bangladeshi batting scorecard, you will see a lot of dot balls. You know, against those quality spinners, it's very difficult to take singles, and I like, as a batsman, if I was there, probably would have looked for the boundaries rather than taking the singles, because so much variety they have and they are accurate. So overall, it was a very strong finish. Mushfiq yet again becoming the savior of Bangladesh, batted brilliantly today. It was a nice little cameo by Mosaddek Hossain Shoikot. Last match, Bangladesh missed his service. So if you look at the score, it's a score where Bangladesh can bowl well and defend. It's not a score that you go to the dressing room and you'll be saying that, oh, we haven't got enough runs today. And look at that World Cup, Afghanistan batting haven't been consistent enough, so Bangladesh will take this chance and they have to bowl really well. It's not a score that you can go and it's like not a walk in the park. They have to work hard, they have to be very precise with the line and length, they have to field well, cut down the boundaries, and hopefully Bangladesh will perform well today.
Now I have to admit for all our viewers watching right now that when we finished the pre-show, me and Mike, we went upstairs, I was having my coffee, Mike Hussey was using the putter, playing a bit of golf, and suddenly out walked Litton Das. And both of us were shocked. Could you understand the tactic of why you want to send Litton Das up and Soumya Sarkar a little below?
I was surprised, and the reason for that is that I thought Litton Das, he does a really good job in the middle order. I know he has batted up the order in the past, but the innings he played at Taunton against the West Indies was just absolutely superb. Just came in and timed the ball nicely, played the short ball well. But I just wonder if Bangladesh were thinking, let's have a right-hand, left-hand combination at the top. They know they're going to face a bit of Mujib there, so just try and break him up with his lines and lengths a little bit, because otherwise Bangladesh would have three left-handers at the top three, and it just enables the bowlers to settle into a nice groove. So I'm not exactly sure, but I'd say that's probably one of the reasons why they sent Litton Das up.
You're bowling to such a lineup and they come with the left hand, right hand. Does that play in your head? Because you've got to alter your lengths and your line?
It depends again on the batsman. Depends again on the batsman and what he wants to do or what he will try to do. Yeah, left-right always is a different thing because the field moves depending on the height and the way the batsmen play, your lengths and your speeds vary in the air as well. So yeah, that always depends on who's in front of you.
Shahriar, what do you have to say about Litton Das coming out to bat, in opening the innings rather for Bangladesh?
You know, like after finishing the show, I just went to turn on the TV and saw Litton Das. I was surprised, but I was very happy with the tactic. You know, like one point Mike pointed out is like three left-handers. Yes, that's one of the reason. And Litton Das is one of the better players of spin bowling in that lineup. So if Bangladesh scored 300 plus, I would have strongly said that was a brilliant move. But Bangladesh didn't score. But the start, small little start Bangladesh got, it got them going. I would have liked Litton Das to score more, get a big score. But the tactic was very simple. Go there, left and right combinations, and both the players are good against spin bowling. So they just wanted to cope with Mujibur Rahman, and it almost worked for Bangladesh.
Of course, with Litton Das then back in the pavilion, out came Shakib who of course went on to score 51, but it wouldn't have been had a certain DRS not gone his way. Yes, gentlemen, the floor is open. Please take over.
Look, I've never been a big fan of DRS, to be very honest. So I think there are too many things which are complex, and I've seen sat in Sinhalese Sports Club, watched the way they set it up. There are too many variables for me, and sometimes the naked eye tells you a lot more, and I've seen it happen right in front of my eyes. So today I couldn't think that was missing the stumps, and I think when Richard Kettleborough was asked to take back his decision, he was not amused himself. So the floor is open again, the jury is out. Personally speaking, I'm not a fan of DRS.
Over to you, sir.
I'm a bit in the same camp. I have been a fan of DRS in the past, but I saw that live and I thought, oh, that's out. No question, that's out. And I thought, at worst, it's going to be umpire's call on the top of the stumps. So I'd love to know what the error range is in the DRS, and I know that's one of the reasons why India weren't keen to have the DRS involved for quite a few years, because there must be quite a bit of error there. Because I was surprised when I saw that missing by so much over the top of the stumps. As I said, I thought that was going to be hitting the stumps, and at worst, maybe just hitting the bails.
I've been to PCRs where that mat can also be moved slightly. So.
In the end, India has been proven correct. Can I say it like that? India has been proven correct. No, but of course, Shakib Hassan went on to get 51 runs. Let's just show you now, because he's got a couple of records going his way in this World Cup. A few more he's achieved in this World Cup. Most runs for Bangladesh in the World Cup. Now he's crossed 1,000 runs, the only Bangladeshi player to do so, averaging 44.17. We all know, of course, the quality that he brings, sir, but we've got two opinions, Shahriar, in the studio on that decision of DRS. What did you make of it? First time when you saw that decision of Shakib Al Hasan?
When I saw the replay, I thought it was not out. I thought that because playing against Rashid Khan, watching him bowl, he gets a bit bounce more than the other bowlers. But you know what happens is when you rely on technology, human efforts get down. And if you're relying technology, why not you rely on the full? Like there's umpires. I'm always a believer of umpires. Like people will make mistakes, like human make mistakes, but I still believe that the human effort should be there. Human should be trained up properly, and just why not keep the game simple? You know, DRS. Now we are having so many talks about DRS, positive or negative. You know, 10 years back there was no DRS, and the game, the beautiful game went on. So, I'm not saying that DRS is bad, but I strongly believe that we should put more faith on human.
Yeah, of course, that's definitely there. For me, technology is helpful when it's foolproof. And for me, again, I've always been, okay, we were taught cricket that if it clips the outside of the off stump or the outside of the leg stump, it's bowled, isn't it? So how is it that way? If the DRS, I want to believe the DRS. So if the DRS tells me that as long as it's clipping the outside of the off stump or the outside of the leg stump, then the umpire should be able to overturn the decision and not be an umpire's call, because it's hitting the stumps. You're telling us that it's hitting the stumps, whether it's hitting it flush or whether it's hitting the corner. It's hitting the stumps.
Whether
I enter my room with my finger in or my entire body in, I'm entering the room. So I want to believe the DRS, which I'm not able to believe. That's my biggest problem with DRS.
The thing is, it was brought in to
remove howlers.
Remove the howlers, the really bad decisions to say. Because at the end of the day, we want to get as many correct decisions.
As well make a mistake as a human being.
Moral of the story, this conversation is ended. We are moving on now because this conversation is never ending, and it was lovely to have that conversation, gents, and may
you
this
only
conversation...
said floor is open.
Yes, sir, the floor is open.
Now
I did not
it.
intervene break on our show. How the Bangladeshi bowlers, who've been pretty expensive in this tournament, can do their bit to get another win under their belt.
Litton Das has been waiting patiently to grab a position dominated by one of Bangladesh's modern greats. Yep, this guy would know that feeling. In the World Cup game against the West Indies, Das scored an unbeaten 94, hitting the winning runs of Bangladesh's finest ever run chase.
I enjoyed his batting from the non-striker end. He never put me under pressure, you know, during the chase. So that was the best part, I think, in his innings. And you know, first match in the World Cup, coming into the team after 3 or 4 games, it's not an easy situation for a player. But the way he handled the pressure was brilliant.
So, besides his first name, which is like one of the most common in Bangladesh, Das has also followed a common route to becoming a cricketer, going to this government-run body and then rising through age group levels. On the back of a strong domestic season, Das got an ODI cap in 2015, but was dropped after a few games. There was no space for 2 keeper batsmen. It took him 2 years and a top run tally in the 2017 Dhaka Premier League to stage a comeback, and nearly another year for his big break, a player of the match knock in the Asia Cup final. Das has shown a remarkable skill against spin as well as against the short ball, making him valuable in the top and middle order. Now with the World Cup debut to
263. That's the number of people watching this show? Of course not. That number is 263,000 or maybe even more. But 263 is what Afghanistan needs if they are to beat Bangladesh in Southampton and pick up their first win of the Cricket World Cup. Welcome back to ESPN Cricinfo Matchday. Still in conversation with Mike Hussey, with Murali Kartik and also Shahriar Nafees. Shahriar, I'll take this straight to you. In Afghanistan's bowling attack, it was in the 5th over that you suddenly had spinners from both ends, because purely the conditions were there to be exploited. You reckon Bangladesh, with their 3 spinners, should be, adopting a similar approach? Okay, we've got some audio issues with Shahriar. We'll get him once his audio issues are settled. But the way they used spin, 5th over, you had spinners bowling from both ends. Of course, there's the quality of spinners also in different sides. Would you adopt spinners in quickly in this, defending this 262?
Not necessarily. I think the spinners are going to play an important role, no question about that. But Afghanistan, they base their whole attack around the spin. So I think Bangladesh need to stick to what their strengths are. And I think they're actually pretty good with the new ball. The captain Mortaza, he does a decent job. Obviously, Mustafiza as well can do a good job. So I think they should stick to their strengths, try and pick up a couple of wickets with the seamers, and then get the spinners on. I think I heard one of the batsmen say that it's quite hard to start. So if you get a new batsman in, try and keep it as tight as possible and build up some pressure on him. But I think just stick to your strengths is the key.
The only worry is that this is a side that has conceded 320 plus, not in 1, not in 2, but in their last 3 encounters. So if you don't start well and they get going, then it could be trouble.
Not on this kind of a track. I would assume so, because it is not an easy track to bat on. We've seen that right through the 3 games which have been played here. And today I thought there was more turn on offer than what we have seen in other games. But again, the number of runs you get scored off also depends on the kind of wickets you play on. So hopefully the Bangladeshi spinners will also relish bowling on this track.
20 seconds on the show, guys. Quickly, who's walking away with the win?
Bangladesh for me.
Bangladesh. Okay. So
although I would want Afghanistan to win.
I'll be the odd one out. I'll say go Afghanistan. This was the ESPN Cricinfo Matchday. We'll see you at the end of that game. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.